What's going on, guys and gals? My name is Shadox and welcome back to the Armory, where I go in depth on each of the weapons available in Battlefield 5. I show you the weapon's stats, strengths, weaknesses, and then I give you my suggestion on the best specialization setup for the weapon so you can be more effective in-game. Today we are taking a look at the new magazine-fed medium machine gun for the support class, the S2-200. The S2 is the current reward for the first week of Tides of War Chapter 4. To unlock it, players will need to focus on playing the objective in any game mode. After July 4th, players will no longer be able to unlock it through completing challenges, but instead will be able to purchase the weapon for company coins. Taking a look at the stats for the S2, it's about what you would expect, and doesn't really have anything special that stands out. The S2 features a rate of fire of 770 rounds per minute, which can be upgraded to 900 rounds per minute, a magazine size of 30 rounds which cannot be upgraded, and it has the same bullet damage as all of the other main automatic weapons with a max damage of 25.1 and a minimum of 18.5, so you will require between 4 and 6 bullets to down an enemy. The reload time for the weapon is probably its strongest attribute, with a tactical reload, meaning that there is still at least one bullet left in the magazine, taking 2.1 seconds and an empty reload taking 2.65 seconds. The weapon has a muzzle velocity of 740 meters per second, which can be upgraded to 840 meters per second, and this is one of the fastest bullet velocities in the game. The recoil and spread of the weapon aren't anything spectacular. Comparing it to the other MMGs, the S2 has the same vertical recoil as the MG42, which is 20% higher than the MG34, but the S2 has the same horizontal recoil as the MG34, which is 43% lower than the 42. These recoil values can also be improved through specialization. Now, contrary to popular belief at the moment, the base spread for hipfire and focused hipfire are identical across all MMGs, so the S2 does not have any advantage in this regard. But the lower horizontal recoil does make controlling this focused fire significantly easier than, say, the MG42. At 10 meters distance, your focused hipfire will result in a half meter spread, and at 20 meters, this increases to just over a full meter. Real quick, just caught this during the proofreading. I forgot to multiply these values by 2, so it is actually a 1 meter spread at 10 meters distance and 2.1 meters at 20 meters. Sorry about that. Before we move on to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the S2, let's take a look at the specializations that it has available. Quick reload to decrease the reload times to 1.83 seconds for a tactical and 2.3 seconds for an empty reload. Recoil buffer to decrease the vertical recoil by about 20%. Flashless propellant to decrease the muzzle flash when firing the weapon, but note, you will still have tracers that enemies can see. Porta-barrel to decrease the horizontal recoil. Light bolt to increase the rate of fire to 900 rounds per minute. Improved bipod to decrease the recoil dispersion when using the bipod. Incendiary bullets to double your damage against enemy aircraft. And high velocity bullets to increase the muzzle velocity from 740 to 840 meters per second. There are two main paths that you can choose with this weapon, but the main difference being the rate of fire. For both paths, the quick reload and high velocity bullet specializations are obvious picks. Vertical recoil can be countered, and shooting at planes is so situational that I would only really pick it if you were extremely frustrated at airplanes on Fiel or something. So let's take a quick look at the Ttk charts for both paths. The red line here is the path with the lower horizontal recoil, improved bipod, and the standard 770 rounds per minute rate of fire. And the blue line is the upgraded 900 rounds per minute rate of fire and flashless propellant. Both lines use the upgraded muzzle velocity, one, because you shouldn't have it not selected, and B, drawing 4 lines would make this chart a bit cramped. So let's talk about where the weapon struggles. One of the biggest drawbacks to the medium machine guns, other than the obvious inability to aim down the sights when not on the bipod, is the long delay between movement and being able to fire. For example, if you were sprinting with the weapon, you would have to wait for a full 1.6 seconds after stopping before you were even able to pull the trigger. And this is not accounting for the FOV transition times for focus fire or the time to go prone and ADS. This is an excruciatingly long time to have no course of action other than hoping your opponent somehow doesn't manage to kill you 3 times over. The short reload times, since it has a magazine, really aren't a blessing for the S2 either. Again, let's compare this to the MG42. Both weapons have access to the quick reload specialization, which reduces the time of both empty and tactical reloads by 15%. Now the MG42 can have a belt of 250 rounds with a tactical reload time of 3.6 seconds with the quick reload specialization. This is clearly longer than the 1.83 second reload of the upgraded S2. So why is this a bad thing? Think about how often you will be reloading each weapon. Let's say you reload whenever your magazine only has one round left, so that you get the most fire downrange. You can also take advantage of the shorter reload times. This means that you'll fire the S2 for 2.22 seconds, perform a 1.8 second reload, and repeat. The MG42 can fire for over 16 seconds, not including overheating, before you will need to do a single reload. What this means is that your effective rate of fire for the S2 is reduced by 45%. Nearly half of your time using this weapon will be watching the reload animation, assuming you are constantly putting rounds down range. Compare this to the MG42's 18% reduction in its effective rounds per minute. So essentially, the S2 is not effective in the slightest at doing what it's designed to do: put suppressive fire downrange on multiple targets. Now, the one benefit to the S2 is that since the magazine size is so small, you will never, and I mean never, overheat the weapon. One tip that I can offer with this weapon is to run with the smaller ammo bag instead of the crates, and this is due to the mini reloads that we just talked about. With the bag, you can simply tap your gadget button to fully resupply yourself and get back into the fight. But if you use the crate, you must first hit the gadget button, then deploy the crate and either interact with it to immediately resupply yourself or let the aura restock your ammunition over time. But since the aura can be interrupted by suppression and the crate just takes significantly longer than simply pressing a button, the bag can save you valuable seconds in your fights. To be honest, I don't see any viable reason to use this weapon. Sure, it has one of the fastest reloads of any weapon in the support class, but you'll be spending more time reloading per game than any of the other MMGs. It can't lay down the same volume of fire as the other MMGs, it has the same hipfire and focused hipfire abilities as the other MMGs, and you're still forced to bipod up if you want any sense of accuracy. You can be successful with this weapon, absolutely, but I would argue strongly that you would be far more effective choosing pretty much any other weapon in the game. MMGs are in a really strange place at the moment, and they have a lot of issues that need to be ironed out. And as such, I would recommend that you pass over this weapon unless you are just going for completionism and all of the gold skins, in which case, good luck and have fun. Thank you guys for watching, my name is Shadox, and I hope to see you on the battlefield.